Sports Network. Goldberg with it. Shot clock down near 20 again. Here comes Kevin Miller. Miller with 10 to shoot. Ricochet out the banner. Got it back. Shot saved and a rebound. Score! Georgetown. Jordan Ray, the junior from Marriottsville, Maryland, gets his ninth, and it's 1-0 Hoyas.
Just too many opportunities for Georgetown in one possession. Multiple shot clock resets and multiple rebound opportunities, and Marquette just couldn't be there to pick up the ground ball. You got to clean up the trash in front of the cage. Laws does all he can twice in this possession off of rebound opportunities, but Ray is there to finally put one past Laws.
Of the season, and the 1 seed goes on top 1-0. We'll see if Marquette can counter here.
And they got to recognize how much defense they just played. They don't have to necessarily stall here, but allow their defense to catch their breath. Don't take that first shot, but work for a better one.
Off the stick here of Bo Westphal from Orinda, California, a sophomore, 8 goals on the year. Second possession for the Golden Eagles. Carson Brandt, shot in front. Off the defender, got it back, bounced it home, 1-1. Connor McCabe with his 5th.
Very fortunate here, had a great look. Shot deflected off the defender's stick and then happens to bounce right into his cross, and he's able to dunk it past Moore. Seeing early in this game 2 unconventional ways of scores. On cue, Detweiler, PLL prospect, locks down. If you don't have to slide to your short sticks, your defense can hit another level.
Marquette looking to take the advantage here. With Nolan Rappis, we talked about him, 31 goals, 46 points on the season, senior from Delafield, Wisconsin for Marquette. And Connor McCabe got the first of the game for the Golden Eagles here today. And now Jake Bear. Bear, 99 in light blue. Good look, shot, score, went low and buried it. Bo Westphal.
This is all set up by an unbelievable feed. A skip pass through a defense is lethal. Rotations are late. Westfall's able to catch, hands free, drops his stick head low, but you see his 3 white.
Possession will go to Georgetown. Cade Goldberg coming off a 5-point game, 2 goals, 3 assists. Beat Villanova last Friday, did Georgetown, with a final of 17-9. Good way to close the regular season at Jordan Ray. Lays it off, turn in the corner, shot into the bottom corner, a thing of beauty from Fulton Bayman on the run for the Hoyas.
Back and forth action over the last few minutes here in Denver. Georgetown answering to Marquette. It's Bayman. Just getting topside, hands free, plenty of net to shoot for. He knows what's to do. Knotted it too early. Structured, but gives you some rules to fall back on.
Former Delaware player like yourself. On the counterattack, here's Georgetown.
Clock.
Here comes Carroll. He's been all over the field for Georgetown. And tough for him to shake loose so far. Duname buries one from outside.
This is just a great shot from Lucas Duname. Marquette does what they need to do defensively. On ball, short stick matchup forces the rotation. Maybe just a step late, sloughing in a bit more. You want to get your pole in a shooter's hands if you're Jackson Nicholas, 55 in blue, but also maybe one loss. Couldn't get it.
With the championship coming Saturday, all right here on CBS Sports Network. Deep shot, save. Anderson Moore right there.
Great skip pass, but Brandt's got to test that. There was no defender at goal line extended. He didn't even think about attacking the cage there. Second look at this, right side of your screen, the shot of moderate quality, but I think Brandt's got to recognize there's no one near me. I've got to look for the best shot, not necessarily the longest one.
Here's Bayman in front. What a pass in order to score. Joe Caesar buries it 4-2 Hoyas.
This is pretty. This is ball movement. Let the ball do the work in this sport, and you'll often be rewarded for it. Joe Caesar, just a benefactor of quality off-ball movement. Bayman head up, dodges. It's kind of a dodge in it, and is able to evade the offensive players with that 6-foot pole. There's some really skilled defenders on this Georgetown team. I've touched on it a couple times. As much as Carroll and this offense, at least within the Big East, lead in all the statistical categories. I think a run in May for Georgetown is going to be anchored by their defense.
Shaking free in front. Instead out this way on a skip pass for Caesar. Bayman carries it behind the net. Bayman's so good back there. Look at this wraparound shot, score! Fulton Bayman with a beauty.
Bayman just went in his bag for this one. He put his defender on skates behind the cage with a crossover that Hardaway would be proud of, and then sneaks it near side. Georgetown's rolling. Turn into some quality play here because they need to grab control of this game.
Must do it. Down 5-2, Georgetown, possession and momentum. Bayman has been electrifying so far. Here's Carroll. And Jordan Ray. In front, good look. Nothing doing. Back to Goldberg.
Another look at this zone for Marquette. This creates extended possession, so more time on this end.
Comes a shot, bounced home from distance. Beautiful shot in the finish at 6-2 Georgetown. Kevin Miller with his 16th of the year.
Don't be afraid of the turf, kids, because it can cause goalies fits. He spikes this one, and it stings that top left corner. Again, against the zone, you're going to give up shots from distance, and off the freshman and Jack Ransom. 9 goals, Brent, in that win last Friday over Villanova. When you watch that game back, it almost felt like if they wanted to, they could have kept feeding him, and he would have had north of 10. But he's been blanked in this one, maybe one shot. Marquette's done a nice job. Scouting report, do not leave 19 in white, or they'll find him and he'll finish.
Freshman from Charlotte, 26 on the season, but to your point, a third of those came in one game. 2 minutes to go in the half. Shot, top shelf, score! Beautifully done by Jake Bear.
Some of the role players keeping Marquette in this one. Bear with a gorgeous feed early in this game, a skip pass to Westfall for a goal, and then this is just an elite level north-south, downhill if you will, dodge. Comes out of the box like a locomotive, separates from his defender, hands free. That slight jump creates a little bit more velocity. His experience, they don't need him right now to be a guy who's forcing shots.
Second half begins here at Denver. Peter Barton Lacrosse Stadium, home of the University of Denver. They made the Final Four last year, did not make the Big East tournament after losing to Marquette 18-11 last week. So they do host, but obviously finished fifth. So it's Marquette, Georgetown, followed by Villanova, Providence in the second semifinal later on tonight. Georgetown gets the first touch. Aiden Carroll, long distance shot, top shelf.
He heard us talking about him. He'd had enough of that big goose egg on his lower third. It's the graphics for you non-TV experts. A skip pass finds its way through the defense. Great handle to get it off the turf, and that's so challenging for a netminder and Laws to have to follow the ball behind, turn and find it through traffic, and then Carroll.
O'Grady bounces it wide there. Bobby O'Grady, senior from Milton, Massachusetts. Trying to sneak one here early in the second half with Marquette down 7-3.
Anderson Moore's only had to make 3 saves. I mean, they got to test him a bit more. Now he picks up another one. He's up to the task. But more shots on cage, I think, would be part of the recipe for a comeback, if you will, if you're Marquette.
Jack Erb for Georgetown carries it in.
Don't be overly precious about it being perfect.
Comes a shot, top shelf this time from the near side. Another score for Georgetown. Joe Vranison.
Vranison, one of the top defensive midfielders for Georgetown. Just a delayed break, so he stays on the field. Normally he'd be making his way off to sub on the offensive personnel, but he recognized an advantage, stays on the field. Bayman finds him and highly efficient. And I don't think it can be said enough. He did a great job of highlighting it over the course of halftime. This program, because this team didn't do it, has won this tournament 6 times in a row. That does give some confidence as you come into this 2 games and 3-day event.
Kevin Warren said we got to control tempo. That's the biggest thing, and they've been able to do that. And this name of the game this time of year especially, according to Warren, was productive possessions. And you could definitely say Georgetown has gotten that right here today. Shot bounced home. Caught him off guard that time, and Marquette able to cash in on a must-have goal from Nolan Rappis.
Warren's upset. They decided, which I don't think we've seen all game, to employ the 10-man. Now 10-man has become 10-man ride. You pull the goalie, it gives you an extra defender in the clearing game. It's become more commonplace, so teams are not as surprised by it. But you see Anderson Moore out of the cage, and they're able to find
from Jordan Ray.
These middies for Georgetown are jacked up right now. They have brought heat since the start of this game. Usually say you'll give something up in that 12 to 15 yard range, but right now Ray, Miller, a bunch of guys are feeling it.
And they'll release from anywhere. Errant pass there. Erb knocked it ahead.
Great play to avoid the over and back.
You got it.
I don't know what the Marquette attackman looks like. Maybe O'Grady not up there to challenge that. You want that ball trickling over the midline.
Bayman in front, shot, score! The feed over the top of the crossbar and the finish in front from Jordan Ray.
Notice this a number of times over the course of this game, partly due to Marquette employing a zone, but Bayman, whose name we've said a lot in this game, he's just operating with really nobody around him or in his gloves. Now, he's not a threat to score necessarily behind, but this is target practice if you're behind the cage and you're a player. That's a culture changer right there. That's just a momentum play. That's Kevin Warren's style lacrosse at its finest. Just riding a guy out with a clean push as he's trying to clear it. All effort. That's what's been part of just the DNA of really over the course of the 13 years. But since Kevin's gotten this thing rolling with the 6 straight Big East championships, it's Georgetown, but they're tough.
And the wraparound score. Back of the net from Payman. He's got 3. And now a 7-point day for the graduate senior from Atlanta, Georgia.
It's a Bayman world, and we're just living in it right now. He has complete control of this game, whether it's as a feeder, where he has been dicing this defense apart, or as a finisher, where he's gotten all he's wanted from this Marquette defense. The guy who basically built this field and built Tierney. I mean, he's legendary for his attention to detail on catching and throwing, and Matt Brown's taken that over. You watch those teams play, and those high-level teams. I often think what separates a top 5 team from a team ranked 15 to 20 in the nation, the consistency to always put that pass right by your teammate's ear. No wasted time trying to catch bad passes.
Shot and a score. Jake Baer, pretty move. Went high and drilled it. Marquette gets one back here at 10-5.
99 in the light blue has been the best player for Marquette in this game. 2 goals, 1 assist, has shown his physical capabilities at 6'2", 215 pounds. Just coming out of the box again with a little bit of momentum. They exchange. He puts that 215-pound frame into the body of the defender and rolls off it and creates momentum, steps into it and rips one.
See if they can get another quick possession here. Comes out of there. Marquette does get it. With Hayden Hiltz, freshman from Waterdown, Ontario in Canada. Another turnover, though. Georgetown is going to get it back. With Ty Banks.
Look at the speed on 17 and white.
Banks on the sprint, tried to bury that one, and it trickles in. What a play by Ty Banks. Another Canadian player from British Columbia, Coquitlam, a sophomore with his 2nd of the year.
This kid's special. He's wearing that 17 for a reason, made famous by Brody Merrill. Coming out, as you mentioned, British Columbia. He's been quiet today. No one's really tested him in terms of a matchup. When he gets the ball in his stick, he's electric. Can take it end to end. Great speed. So comfortable. Just watch him separate from defenders and then places this shot well. Any game you own, all the fundamentals, but he's got the right attitude. Attitude and effort, Brent.
Saw some game tape earlier on the young man following you in your footsteps. Former Delaware defenseman, and we talked about Beta, the OC, and the job he's done. Another former Delaware player running the offense for Marquette.
Kevin Warren learned all that he's doing here as a head coach while
That's right.
working with the Delaware program in the early, I always want to say the early aughts, but that's not early 2000s.
Not quite. Yeah, he was there. You guys crossed paths. More than crossed paths. He was your coach for 1 year and had a profound impact back in 2004.
Absolutely.
Good look in front. What a fake and a score. And Dudemain with another beauty for Georgetown.
Floodgates are open in this Marquette defense for good reason. Just looks a bit gassed. They've had to play so much ball on that end, and now Georgetown's starting to just have that ball moving, flowing, and finishing. Dudemain. It's a guy, honestly, Brent, coming into this game, we had to
12-5 Georgetown. Carson Brandt shakes
Banks
loose.
Goes for that over the head. Good on Brandt for knowing it's coming. He tucks his stick. Any other player does that, they're sitting on the bench.
There's Noah Snyder, feeds in front. Double team comes, they shake it loose. Another good defensive effort by the Hoyas.
And that's the other thing too, going back to Kevin Warren, to play on his defense. He challenges you, but he also gives you freedom. Now it has to be earned, but Ty Banks has earned the right to be able to throw a check like that. Even though he didn't complete it.
Skip across in the finish, I beg your pardon. Wilson Van Buren. Or was it, it was Caesar Van, it was actually Caesar. Beg your pardon, but what a skip pass to get to Caesar, and he had a clean lane and gets his 16th.
I'm glad you brought it up. Just the skip pass and the accuracy. We talked on how catching and throwing is at the foundation of everything in this sport, and we've seen it multiple times. This time it's Carroll just with a BB of a pass right Army, and those are the kind of players and plays you need if you're going to win this championship.
First possession of the fourth goes to Marquette. Down 8. What can they do to kind of chip away and make this thing at least somewhat interesting?
Starts right there with winning faceoffs. They've got to dominate that area of the field. I think you don't have to be in a hurry, but you got to play with some urgency and ball movement. But really, the role players, and Bayer, 99 and blue, his north-south dodging from up tops create a lot of trouble for this Georgetown defense.
Here's Bobby O'Grady, 13 in blue, releases and fires it in. A missile from Bobby O'Grady, and maybe that'll get him going. It's 13-6.
It would be huge if O'Grady were to wake up and go on a run here. All-time leading goal scorer in Marquette history, and he's been quiet throughout this game, but this is what he can do so well. Just put his foot in the turf, decisive left-handed dodge, get to the middle of the field, put it on cage. I think rolls.
Eden Carroll for Georgetown, 4 minutes into the fourth. Bayman.
But again, this to me is not an approach defensively that I endorse. Also based off of, hey, let's press out. There's 10 minutes and 30 seconds to play in this game. We're down 7. We can't just let them dominate the ball back here. And largely, Bayman can just, if he wanted, just stand back there for the remainder of a shot clock.
Dudeman whistled that one left to the goal. Skipping across in front. What a feed from Bayman to the finish again from Dudeman at the edge of the crease.
This has been skip pass teach tape over the course of nearly 4 quarters. And Bayman's in the flow state right now. I mean, that's like a fadeaway jumper from 5 feet beyond the 3-point arc, just on a dot to Dudeman's stick.
9 minutes, 14-6 Georgetown. This feels like a team, and you talked about it throughout the night, that if they can just get in, and that's the case. I mean, you do the NCAA basketball tournament every season. You know all too well that there's teams that get left on the cutting room floor that, boy, you felt like they could have been a Sweet 16 team, but they couldn't get out of their conference.
I think it's even more the case, Brent, in college lacrosse. I root for, as the scoring continues for Georgetown, expansion of the NCAA tournament. I know there's multitude of reasons why that's not the case, but I think there's too many good teams that are left out each year that could go on runs to a Final Four.
The goal there, Miller, and has he come alive in this one? 2 tonight, 17th of the season for Kevin Miller.
I love how Miller just loves a good old bounce shot. This is his second one where it's not just skipping it off the turf, it is driving that pill into the turf. And Laws has no idea where it's going until it's behind him.
15-6. They came in scoring nearly 12 a game. They're 3 above that, Georgetown.
I mean, to think, Brent, there's a version where if Georgetown were to lose in a championship game, is they put another one on the board here.
This is too easy. They're having fun out there.
Look at the bench going wild.
Going wild. Wilson Van Buren bounced that one to the back of the net. His first of the year, and it's 16-6 Georgetown.
That's a staple of a Kevin Warren program going back to his days when he was an assistant at Maryland. He always gets his bench going, and clearly the boys are happy for their guy. And Van Buren, who's backed up the freshman in Prince.
Bentley's Whiskey Row in downtown Denver.
Depends on how the second game goes.
You might be tired of me by the end of tonight. They've scored on 3 consecutive shots, Georgetown. At this point, man, it's got to feel so good when it just everything is bouncing your way. You're in the postseason and just having fun out there to close out a game.
And the reality, too, from a sort of a building towards Saturday position, if you're Kevin Warren, you start to loosen that bench a little bit, as now it's just pretty much anybody with the ball is going to put one in.
Dudemain has 4. Lucas Dudemain is going to the top of my sheet for the championship game on Saturday.
Dudemain is having a dude-like game right now. You'll know his name after this one. He's got the game to match it too. A shooting display in Denver from Dudemain. All Georgetown on their way to a ship. Yeah, Vicky, we don't have windshield wipers on this window, so we might be opening it up.
5:40 to play. Hoya's up by 11.
It's full on empty the bench time here for Kevin Warren, which is huge. Save some legs for that Saturday afternoon championship game with everything on the line.
Shuey Kelly out there, 55, couldn't handle the pass back to Marquette. So how is Jake Richard going to... Here comes a shot and a score going low at the feet of Moore, and Bobby O'Grady with his second here in the 4th.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too late for Bobby O'Grady, and you mentioned there just what does this mean moving forward for Jake Richard.
Yeah,
it's a transitional period because Bobby O'Grady is senior, and now it's about the next wave of Marquette Golden Eagles that he's bringing in, and I think they're going to benefit immensely from appears to be 2-man down situation. So that's one penalty right there, cross check. But I'm seeing 2 Georgetown players in the box, so
number 1 in the country with a man
6-on-4 action here for Marquette.
Good chance for the Golden Eagles, number 1 with the man up, but again, it has not been there today to this point with a man advantage.
That's a great point. I mean, you got to do the things you do well, really well, when you're playing the 1 seed, and they just haven't been able to.
Comes a shot and a score. There you go. That's Matt Caputo cashing in, 17-7.
Oh, look at this, A+ crew here.
Denver Sports Information going to step up.
Yeah, Nico going above and beyond. Pioneers might not be in the tournament.
He's
wiping MVP performance right now.
He's wiping down our windows in front of us so we can see even more clearly that beautiful shot by Caputo with a 2-man advantage. .325 to play, 17-8 game. Georgetown will advance to get either Providence or Villanova. The 2-3 matchup comes up later tonight here on CBS Sports Network. Championship game Saturday at 5 Eastern. Comes a shot and it trickles home, and another one. Everything going the way of the Hoyas. Ben Furley, a freshman, gets his 5th.
Appears to be a new goalie in there for Marquette. So again, both sides kind of emptying things to get some well-deserved opportunity for guys that maybe haven't played as much this season. And for Ben Furley, these are important minutes. And for anybody who's out there in this game right now, it's important to, one, take advantage for an experience factor, but also try and prove to coaches, especially if you're in a Georgetown jersey, that, hey, you probably can count on me. It's Jack Kask in net now for Marquette.
Gene's territory, does football and basketball, so be curious to know what he knows in terms of the rule book of lacrosse.
My guess is Gene could
he could figure it out.
He could figure it out. Talk his way through it for us.
Man up for 30 seconds, Georgetown. Up 10, make it 11. Another one for the Hoyas here late with 2.5 remaining.
Yeah, this is cool. Henry Caponiti. Attackman out of Rye, New York, 6'1", 225. Just kind of playing that center position. He's loving it right now. This is cool. He's just